Well, what's up guys? This is Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and as you can see, out in the garden today doing some harvesting, and fall is in the air. I'm telling you what, it's not fall, it's still gonna be hot, it's still gonna get hot, but we've had a little slight cool off. We're only gonna be getting up into the low 90s instead of the low 100s, but I got out early this morning to get a lot of work done, and the garden has just kind of been neglected. And that kind of happens with me every year, say July, August. It's just hard for me to get motivated to do much in the garden. So I kind of just let it go. Well, I'm not going to sing the song, but some of you just started singing the song in your head, right? Don't lie. I know you did. You got to let it go. Anyways, I just kind of let the garden go. And as you can see, tomato plants are giant, and harvested all of the ripe tomatoes off of them. They're still producing. There's still actually a ton of nice green tomatoes growing, and it really kind of surprises me because we're in mid-August, and usually by now it's been so hot and dry that the tomatoes don't produce anymore. It gets that hot and dry, they flower falls off, it doesn't produce a fruit. They've actually done pretty well. The peppers, oh my gosh, every year I plant less and less and less pepper plants, because it seems like we can never go through that many peppers. So clearly I've got lots of peppers. I think what I'm gonna do, so we've been harvesting all summer long. I haven't shown a lot of the garden just because we've had so many other things going on, but we're fixing to get into that fall gardening season, trying to get my brain wrapped around getting things ready for fall. So just harvesting everything today. Let me show you how many peppers I picked today. Check this out. Now I will say this, there's about half a bucket of tomatoes under there, but these are banana peppers. They're not hot at all. We've got lots and lots of bell peppers off of like 6 plants. The jalapenos, so we make a ton of jalapeno poppers, where you take the pepper, cut the seeds out, put cream cheese in it, wrap it in bacon, and put it on the grill. Oh my goodness, these big giant jalapenos are perfect for that, but they have no heat this year. They are not hot at all. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that many peppers right now. Probably gonna end up taking most of them to church and giving them to the ladies at church, because I'm sure a lot of them will do some canning. They'll can some banana peppers and things. But you know, there just comes a point where there's only so much produce you can do something with. We've put up salsa this year. My wife has made tomato basil soup and a lot of things. We don't can near as many vegetables as we used to. Once upon a time I'd have 20 or 30 pepper plants out here, and we would can banana peppers, we would can jalapenos. So we'd put up like, say, 15-20 jars of peppers, and over a year's time we may go through like 5 or 6. So every year it was like this, I don't know, we were giving away way more than we were using. So I don't can near as many peppers as we used to, but everyone likes free peppers, all right? I mean, we can give those things away. So I don't mind growing them, but man, it's just got to a point where it's time to take a break, time to harvest everything, give away as much as I can, and then we're gonna start transitioning the greenhouse, the high tunnel here, into fall mode. It's still hot, still gonna be really hot in there for a while, but we've got to start planning ahead and getting our greens started for winter, so that we have lots of good healthy greens, because my wife and I juice a lot of those greens all winter long. So it's time to start that transition. But we got to get it cleaned up first, and it's just kind of like this. So in my opinion, everything's seasonal. Year to year it's seasonal. There's seasons of life. Everything's seasonal. You know, we went through you go through growing up, that's a season of your life. You go to work, get a career, that's a season. Well, gardening, everything's seasonal, at least with Bear here. What's seasonal for you, buddy? You got anything to add to this? If I don't put you on camera while you're here, everyone will say, oh my gosh, where's Bear? Oh my gosh, where's Bear? Where's Bear? We miss Bear. So gardening is just real seasonal, and especially for me, it's like this. In the winter, you can't wait to plan that garden. You can't wait to get started. You're so excited. Spring rolls around, you plant everything you can imagine, plus about 10 times more than you should. Summer heat hits, you start harvesting everything. You're eating all this awesome produce, but the summer heat makes you go, oh, I don't feel like going to the garden. And by fall, you're usually like, till it all under, I'm done, I'm sick of it. But I love growing in the fall, I love growing in the winter. So I have to make a point in my brain to go, okay, summer gardening, we're gonna call it an end. And we have to start moving towards that fall and winter garden, or we'll get way behind and won't get it started. So I've been pulling out things as they kind of finished up, as they went along. So there's not much going on in the self-wicking tubs right now. I have a few things that have survived, like this Swiss chard. It looks terrible right now, but this Swiss chard will have a huge jump start on fall. I've kind of kept it trimmed back. You can see there's some insect damage, but we'll clean it all up. But they've got a really good healthy root system on them right now, so we'll start pumping some fertilizer, and we should have, this will just be more than you could ever imagine in Swiss chard. There's a few onions up here. These are not really a bulbing onion, they're more like a green onion. Planted way too many in here, if you can't tell, but we've been picking a few here and there. There's some more Swiss chard up there, but I've been working to clean up some of the self-wicking tubs. They do really, really well in the spring. Might as well turn and talk to you the right way. So these self-wicking tubs do exceptionally well in the spring and the fall. The summertime, when that summer heat comes in, you really, I don't know, I'm torn. I love this. I love growing in these self-wicking tubs, these self-watering tubs, but Bella, your panting's got to go somewhere else. In the summertime, when it gets so hot, when we're in the 100-degree range, and we're obviously inside this greenhouse, they dry out really fast. So it takes a lot of water to keep those things going, but it works. I've had really good success. I just seem to prefer the actual raised beds with an automatic watering system on them, my drip irrigation system. When it's really just brutally hot, I think that works a little bit better. But spring, fall, and winter, I have no complaints about our self-wicking tubs. So there are a few other things I want to show you in here before I get to work cleaning up. Some things that have gone really, really well, and some things that, not so much. So I tested out a couple pepper plants in the self-wicking tubs. You saw me harvest about 15 or 20 peppers off of that. It was a banana pepper. The bell pepper plant over here, I didn't get it staked up. I know I should have staked it up. It needs some support. It's growing. It actually has produced a ton of peppers. We've harvested all summer off of this, don't get me wrong. But it does not produce those big, giant peppers like what was grown over there in the raised beds. Bear, you just want to be close, buddy? Now, there's a ton of peppers on here, and I probably should pull a bunch off and see if that it will allow them to get bigger, but it's not great. Now, Houston planted a couple watermelon plants in here, and these were like giant, like from seeds of watermelons that were over 200 pounds that were given to him by GrowJack from GrowJack Outdoors. And they've not done very well. I'm going to say it's probably because of the heat and a few insect problems. They're alive, they're growing, but they have not produced any fruit, unlike what's outside in the garden. Even as overgrown and weeds as they are, they produce a lot of watermelons. Oh, apparently we've got a volunteer tomato plant that's just decided to pop up in that raised bed, and I left it there. And then I didn't plant any cherry tomato plants this year. Zero. I didn't plant any. And I've got a really healthy looking cherry tomato plant growing right here that's just producing an abundance of cherry tomatoes. So I guess this was a tub that I had a cherry tomato plant in last year, and it volunteered a cherry tomato plant, so I just left it. And I mean, it's making a lot of fruit. Now, back during the spring, I was doing a ton of hydroponic experiments, I guess, growing a lot of different things hydroponically, just with a water and fertilizer solution. Worked really well, grew a ton of cucumbers, grew a ton of greens and things. And if you'll remember, I put a bell pepper plant in one of these big 55-gallon barrels with just water and a fertilizer mixture, just to see how a pepper would do hydroponically. And that pepper plant has just now started to die off. I noticed I came out today, it's really wilted. We've picked quite a few peppers off of it. I didn't write them down, I didn't keep track, but they were giant. I mean, like softball size bell peppers, probably 3 to 4 times bigger than what the self-wicking tub produced. What do you three want? I'm trying to get through this video and all I can hear behind me is huh? What do y'all want? I'm trying to talk about a bell pepper plant. So here's my one and only, first time ever, hydroponically grown bell pepper plant. And as you can see, it's quite large. I didn't have any kind of support. I thought, well, we'll just let it trail down over the side of that and just let it kind of waterfall down. It's finally starting to die off. I don't know, we'll check the water level, see how low I think the water is. Obviously that's probably the main issue, is it's probably used up most of its water source. I've never added water to this, so there's not many peppers on it right now because we've picked most of them. There's a couple. Here's one that's starting to turn red, but it's kind of soft because the plant's dying off. And then here's one smaller one. But I want to pull this thing out and see if we can inspect the roots, see what kind of root system this bell pepper plant's got on it. So this was put in the barrel as a seedling, just a few inches tall. I'm gonna say probably in April. Check out the root mass on this plant. I mean, that is crazy. So it kind of surprises me that it stays nice and tight like that. It's starting to spread out at the bottom, kind of like a mop head down there. The roots are nice and wide. You can see probably the last 6 inches or so are all that was down in the water. So the rest of this, all of this root mass here is completely dry all the way down. It's kind of moist here where it's kind of been absorbing it up, where it's been wicking water up. But you can tell where it's nice and clean and white, that's the only thing still sitting in the water. But talk about a big pepper plant, and that root mass, I mean, it's just a mat, like a root mat. Okay, so I just set it on another barrel here just to kind of get an idea. This is approximately about, you know, the water line, where the cup's set in the top of the barrel. So here's how the roots would look inside. So basically it looks like, and I haven't checked that barrel yet, but I'm going to say we've probably got about 8 inches of water in that other barrel. So my guess is that water was getting really, really hot during the day, and it's finally just, plants just kind of succumbed to the heat. But that's pretty impressive. That's a heck of a ball of roots on one pepper plant. Well, let's check the water level and actually see. I've got a piece of rebar that I can stick down in there and give us an idea of how much water's left in there. So after all summer long, you can see, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but the line is right here. So that means there's about 8 or 9 inches of water left in the bottom of the barrel. So the barrel did not go dry. It's lasted all summer long. But my guess is, with the summer heat, there's just not enough water in there. That water's probably getting really hot in the evenings, and just weakened the pepper plant, and it finally just died. All right, got the roots busted off, so I can get my net pot off, and I'm just going to give this pepper plant to the pigs. Usually they'll eat the leaf. They'll eat the leafy green parts for sure. And just like animals normally do, they proved me wrong. These two guys decided to go after the root ball before the leaves. It's kind of odd. Usually they'll go after anything green and leafy that I throw in here. Wonder why they're after the roots. It's kind of strange. As you can see, the sun's starting to hit the plastic, and it will quickly warm up in here. It's been pretty nice working out here this morning. I've been here for probably an hour and a half or so. I was really hoping to get some seeds started for fall. We're going to be doing a lot of greens, you know, the typical spinach and kale and collards and bok choy and Swiss chard and all that stuff. But now's the perfect time to get out here, plant some more squash, zucchini, cucumbers, and things like that that we can eat up until the frost. We won't try to do the stuff that's not frost hardy past, you know, too much past a normal frost date, because it will kill it in here. We're not trying to run a heated greenhouse, but I'm not gonna get any seeds planted today. There's other times for that. We'll get out here early in the morning, maybe tomorrow or the next day when it's nice and cool, and get some of that done. But I just kind of want to end this by saying one of the most common things I hear from people about gardening is they tell me all the time, and you guys tell me all the time, you wish you could grow a garden like me, but you just don't have a green thumb. And I want to say this, guys, don't let that stop you. Don't let that fear of failure prevent you from doing it, because I will say this, I promise you, I fail way more than you guys will ever know. I mean, take a look at this strawberry. This strawberry bed here is overgrown and grown crazy. I don't have it cleaned up. I mean, that, to me, that's kind of a failure. But I grow crops all the time that fail, that die, that don't do any good. And that's just part of it. That's just part of life in general. Don't let the fear of failure prevent you from doing something. Whether it's gardening or a new career or starting a YouTube channel. I get people all the time that say, hey, I'm thinking about doing some videos on cooking, or I'm thinking about doing some videos on working on cars. I'm a part-time mechanic. I do things on the side, and people are always asking me, how do I fix this? How do I fix that? But I'm just scared to get started. Well, guys, don't let that fear of failure prevent you from trying, because you just never know what could come of it. And I truly believe that one of the big things that we should all do in life is try to live out God's plan in our life. And sometimes we don't know what that is. Sometimes you don't have a clue what God's plan for your life is. Obviously, you should pray about it, you should think about it, you should study on it. But sometimes things come up that you used to be no good at whatsoever. Like for me personally, not a public speaker. Not a public speaker. Growing up, I was the most shy, bashful kid. I mean, just to be quite honest, I didn't really have a girlfriend until I was like 16 because I was scared of girls. I didn't talk to girls. I didn't talk to people. I was shy, quiet, bashful, and at some point in my life I had to come out of that and I guess grow up and not be so scared of people. But you know, I've never been a public speaker, but yet I talk to 400,000 people that are subscribed on YouTube and 120 or 30 on Facebook. So 500,000 people. We have a reach of 500,000 people. Yet I'm not a public speaker. You got to find a way. So yeah, anyway, so how do I tie that to gardening? I don't know. Don't let that fear of failure prevent you from growing a garden. It's not as hard as you think. Start small. Go out, start with a few pots, a raised bed, something, plant some seeds, and just see what happens. Things that, you know, I will say this, the bigger the seed, at least for me, the easier it is to grow. So something like squash and zucchini and cucumbers and the big seed stuff, it almost grow itself if you put it in the right environment. So anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me in the greenhouse and the garden and getting some work done out here today. Look forward to many, many more fall gardening videos. When it comes, pigs are trying to get to my water hose. I'm watering that asparagus bed that I cleaned out over there, and the pigs want to get to it. But anyways, yeah, fall is on its way, and we spend a lot of time out here in the fall and winter and just working and chatting, talking to you guys. So guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.